Well, let's delve into this some more and look at the local threat. We're joined by Craig Rosewarne from Wolfpack Information Risk. Thank you for joining us. Craig, it's been called catastrophic. How big is this bug? Is it one of the worst we've ever seen?
We've seen so much this year and last year that, compared to some of the major revelations around what Edward Snowden released around major spying through NSA, etc., this is very big. I would say it's probably on the same level as the Edward Snowden revelations, just because of the pure number of sites that are vulnerable to this.
And interesting, because some people are speculating that the security department in the US actually used this bug to track people, to hack into Facebook, things like that. So it's incredible.
Yes. So
do you believe that?
I initially believed that, but what we have subsequently seen is that it was actually an oversight by one of the programmers. Now, OpenSSL is a very loosely knit organization. According to the stats we've seen, there's only one full-time employee, and it's a team of 4 programmers that actually make the core team of OpenSSL. So that's the actual scary part is that this loosely knit organization is used by over 2/3 of secure internet sites in the world.
So one permanent employee, is that what you're saying?
That's what we have seen.
Because like you say, that this little lock symbol signifies that this site is protected by this encryption service.
Yes.
And that is OpenSSL.
Yes. So there are other providers. OpenSSL is an open source initiative, so it is very widely used by most of the sites out there. And I mean, we've seen even bigger players like Google, Yahoo, Pinterest, some of the larger brands out there actually using OpenSSL.
Sure. How many people use it in South Africa? If I want to do internet banking right now, should I be concerned?
No, I don't think so. We haven't really seen any major breaches taking place locally. The concerning thing, though, is we don't know exactly how many sites are still vulnerable. There are tools available out there to actually go out and scan. The scary thing is that criminals and hackers have already built in different modules to the tools that they use to actually go out and scan large volumes of internet sites. So right now, security researchers have found that the black hat hackers out there are actually scanning large groups of sites, which is really going to be open to a feeding frenzy of stealing credentials. The earlier gentleman you had around doing credit checks, I think they're going to be doing a lot of business thanks to what we've seen here.
So this is a bug that other hackers can incorporate into their bugs, or a loophole that they can use when building new bugs. It's quite incredible.
Exactly. It's very much an open source community as well on the underground side of things. You've got different players that are there to design tools and sell tools and provide support for these tools to the criminal underworld, and then you've got those that are focused on stealing large quantities in the millions of credentials, which they then sell to other people. So it's a booming business.
Apparently, it's quite easy to fix. I think Google, said you just have to upgrade to the newer version. But if you go onto a website that is encrypted, that has that little lock, how do you know if it's been upgraded or not?
You need to basically go and review the site that you're going to go and visit. So there is a website that you can go and visit. There's a couple of them out there. You just have to go and Google, and you put in the URL of the site that you want to go and visit, and it should tell you that the site is now patched. What's scary, though, is we are told as consumers not to do anything about it, and to be, to wait until the actual sites notify us that it's now safe, and then we must go and log in and change our credentials. We all know what happens when there's a major news event that scammers,
the hackers will send out
those these phishing emails. So number one, it's opening that door open for people to be exploited, and secondly, there's a whole lot of fix-it tools out there. Download this add-on to your browser, and it will make it safe from Heartbleed, which could either be genuine or once again opening up your site to additional malicious software.
If you have an antivirus, does that help?
Not really, to be honest. This is more around a secure connection. So when you go and visit a site where you're trying to perform a transaction, so it's an e-commerce site, a banking site, for example, you need to have that little padlock on to know that site, that connection is secure, that no one else can sniff your traffic and intercept your credentials. So it's to do with that. This is just one exploit of a large number that you're seeing out there in the wild, not only on your computer connection, but also more predominantly on mobile devices now as well.
I want to explore the local threat. You said you're not too worried about South African banks, but what if I shop online? What would you advise consumers? I mean, apparently even social media are vulnerable, so anything you use could be vulnerable. What is your advice to people who are wary?
Okay, so the advice really is, I would go in and change. There's nothing wrong with going in and logging in and changing your passwords, putting in stronger passwords. Some of these social sites actually allow you to take on additional security, so multi-factor authentication, which means you have a username, password, and an additional PIN code. That's some of the small things that you can actually do. Make sure that your software is up to date, because oftentimes your browser might be vulnerable, your operating system might be vulnerable. Do that. But you know what this really points at in our country is the lack of a bigger cybersecurity strategy, because there is no...
Well, in the world, in fact.
No, actually, there are these centres available, these coordination centres in other parts of the world where even, 15 African countries have got them. South Africa, we've been lagging behind, and we've been warning about this for quite some time now, that there should have been a central point where the threat is analysed and notified. There's no national awareness happening to consumers out there. So every time something happens, there's always panic. There's no, how can I say, cybersecurity leadership in the country. And that's something we seriously need to address.
So maybe a bit of a wake-up call. Thank you for your advice. That was Craig Rosewarne from Wolfpack Information Risk.